Hello, my name's Liv Torc and welcome to the Hip Yak Poetry School in a yak show mini tutorials about all things spoken word. So I'm going to do a couple of short films about how to run a successful poetry night. And this is part one, audiences. If you want to start a poetry venture of any kind, one that will require an audience, as most do, your first question should be, before you begin any marketing, before you even book the venue, is there an audience for my event? And if there is, who are they? Who is actually going to want to come? And is there enough of them to run a successful event? Now, the spoken word audience is an elusive beast. They do exist in every town, in every village, in every city, but often they don't know it yet. You may have to build a new one from scratch, which isn't that easy, but it is possible. Or you might start a night where there is already a dozen other spoken word events happening and you end up diluting everyone's audience and treading on everyone's toes. Currently, there are about 60 different spoken word nights taking place throughout the southwest, from Cornwall through to Hampshire and up to Gloucestershire. Most will have audiences between 20 and 50 people. 30 people plus is usually good enough for a spoken word event, although the grandfather of spoken word, Adrian Mitchell, reckons 200 is perfect. Lucky him. Any more than that and you lose the intimacy. So who are the spoken word audiences? Who are the people who are likely to come to your event? Well, other poets, for a start, they're your staple, and writers, people who want to perform themselves, including slammers and the friends and family of poets who are performing. There's also arts and community groups. If it's a rural touring event, the promoters will already have a ready-made community audience for you. There's students, all kinds of students, and also the audiences of comedy, theatre, literary events. Fans and followers of your headline act, if you've got a headline act, and fans and followers of your brand, if you have a strong brand. Loyal audiences of your venue. Passing trade, if it's a festival or an event in a public space. And, if you're lucky, the general public, who might just happen to be there and like it so much they come back. When you identify this potential audience, it will not just influence your marketing, but also, or it should, influence the whole structure of your event. For example, I started an event called Taking the Mic in Exeter about a decade ago, which is still going now and is run by the wonderful Tim King. And at the time, there wasn't any spoken word nights happening in the city and no other solely open mic nights for poets. But there was a big community of poets hungry to share their words and meet others like them, plus a nearby university with creative writing courses. So starting an open mic night was the best course of action because the poets came to perform and they became the audience and they began a community, and it's still going now. At the other end of the spectrum, you have Matt Harvey's wonderful Wondermentalist Cabaret that started in Totnes about 15 years ago, and more recently Johnny Fluffy Punk's Penny Gaff, now in Stroud. Now both take place in very creative little towns with strong up-for-it communities with good word of mouth. And events like this can bring in 100+ people, but they need to tap into the community and have a well-loved host like Johnny and Matt with a good following and professional poets on the bill and other exciting acts, because these nights are designed for paying public audiences and not just other poets to do open mic slots. On a different note, I run an event called the Rainbow Fish Speakeasy in Yeovil, which was born out of a wordplay mental health project. And it came about because of a series of workshops and the people who took part in them wanting to get involved in running their own opportunity platform event. So its audience were the friends and families of the people who took part in the project. Then it grew to accommodate the local writing community. And that's kind of a lovely grassroots way to start an event in a place where there isn't anything happening, and where you have audiences which are really atypical, much more kind of working class or public audiences. Now, nights in Bristol and Bath, however, might tap into younger audiences and students and those who are connected to the considerable and exciting scene in those cities. With festivals, you've got a totally different approach again. And with the Hip Yak Poetry stage at WOMAD, my potential audience was already all around me, but they didn't know we were there or even existed when we started. So I spent the first couple of years running that stage, fighting tooth and nail to get listed properly in the programme and to appear on the app. And most importantly, to get the stage positioned on one of the main paths, because through traffic was the biggest potential audience pool. We literally needed to be so good we pulled people in off the path. And it paid off. And as our reputation grew year on year, we now have become a beloved feature of the festival and get audiences of 100 to 800 people. And that can even work, Adrian Mitchell. It can if it's John Hegley under the trees. So to recap, when setting up or trying to build an audience for your poetry night, you must first work out who your potential audience or audiences are. Where do they come from? Who are they? What age are they? What are they interested in? And can you make a poetry night that they will enjoy so much that they'll come back again and again and bring their friends? Their needs and desires should be interwoven into the heart of the event you are making, because they will guarantee its success. Once you've established that, then you need to do some research and find out where these potential audiences find out about events and nights out. Do they go to a certain Facebook group? Do they go to a certain pub? Is it a social media thing, or is it through the teacher in their writing group? Is it via a festival programme or e-bulletin? Or do you need to hotfoot it around town to all the other similar nights with a wad of flyers and a basket of cookies? I mean, there are a zillion ways and places you can market your events, but you need to target your marketing towards the audience you think will come. Otherwise, you will go crazy, trust me, splattering the virtual and physical walls with promotion that no one will take any notice of. So remember, who are your audiences? Where do they find out their information? And thirdly, what kind of marketing will be the most effective to get them to come along? Now, that I think is going to be saved for my next tutorial, and I'll be talking about brand and marketing tools and running a good event in my next video. If you found this one interesting or interested in seeing any of the other Poets Nutshell films, please go to the website and check them out. But good luck with your event. See you soon. Bye.